speaking of a team that is below West Ham in the table, Wolves and Man United. Wolves taking a
Yeah.
2-0 lead over United. There's really not much that I want to say about this, but I'm going to let Nick and Kenny talk about what their feelings are
Jacob, go ahead.
for this
You're ready to
game.
rip.
Say one thing before I let you guys go in. Team that gets an Olympico twice in 2 weeks does not deserve to be in the Premier League. Man United relegation is happening.
All right, let's start this off with this because you didn't have to watch the game to answer this question.
No,
If your captain gets 3 red cards within the first 4 months of the season, can that be your captain anymore? And all
No.
3 of them are just strictly from idiotic, petulant behavior, and they were all deserved reds. Just want your opinions on that, Lando, as a former skipper.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great. That's you're supposed to set the example of what the players on the squad, what you want them to do. And I mean, there's always different types of captains. You got the vocal ones, you got the lead by example ones, but really whenever you see your captain get a red card, let alone 3 red cards in a season, it doesn't really set a good example of what is going on in that locker room and what's going on with that club, because that just starts to draw some questions of, obviously we've seen the roster getting leaked for lineups on a weekly basis. Like it just tells a larger story of what's really going on behind the scenes over there.
Muck, any thoughts on your captain continuously getting red cards?
Yes, I mean, it's not a good look. I think there needs to be a mutiny in that locker room. I don't think Amarim White has a clue yet. I think he's just putting his best player, the captain man. But who do you give it to? Honest to God, who do you give it to?
Harry Maguire.
United.
It's crazy, but probably. Here's the thing that I have with United. You bring in new ownership. You bring in new management. And everything's supposed to be grand and jolly. And then you recruit bad players in the summer. And then you allow the manager to stay for another 3 months. And by doing both of those things, you've probably set yourself back another 2 years. And now you're at the point where there's absolutely no authority. There wasn't any authority when Ten Hag left. And it seems like it's just continuing, and there's still no authority at the club. It's like somebody has to take responsibility and say, I am the problem. I need to get it under control. And I thought that how he handled the Garnacho and Rashford situation was going to solve it. However, it's still a problem because a couple days after that, Rashford just comes out and says, I want to leave. And then the manager comes out and goes, we want Marcus to be here. We want Marcus to get help. Just have some authority. Someone take control and figure it out.
Thoughts on that? Thoughts on the whole Rashford situation? Because I have my opinion, but I want to hear yours.
We talked about it last week. Like, he should never be leaving United.
Thank you. Okay,
but
I
his
agree.
career is on the path right now where he has to leave because it's a shit show. And once you go public saying you want to leave, you can't stay. If you go out and tell all your friends, I hate my girlfriend, she's the worst person in the world, and the word gets back to your girlfriend, you can't go back to your girlfriend.
True. It's true. Good analogy.
That's I've been there. That's what happens. This is what happens when you bring one girl to a cookout.
United
Great.
just have way too many cooks in one kitchen, and the issue is none of them are cooking good meals. They all suck. They're all bad cooks. None of them are taking command. You know, you want to think of it as a restaurant, right? You want one leader. You want Gordon Ramsay in there. You want him. You want the best cook, the best leader. You want him taking control of the situation. And then you want a bunch of helpers that can hold their own weight and they just listen to the commands. The problem is, United, they have failed multiple times now to get the guy. I'm not saying Amarin's not the guy. he might turn into the guy. But right now, he doesn't have control of the kitchen, and the cooks in the kitchen, aka the players, they don't give a shit about the meal. They're in there, we're supposed to be making filet mignon for Christmas. They're in there taking little slices and putting it in their backpacks and taking it home with them to feed their own families. Because none of them give a shit about United. They all just care about themselves. Kenny, you're just nodding in agreement or disagreement. I don't know. But I feel like you're about to unload.
I think he's
Kenny's
kind of an
just-
asshole.
Kenny's just vibing over here, man.
So, I was listening to everything. And after this Man U allegation I received earlier today, I'm like, you know what? Should I even talk about Man U? But the answer is yes. I'm still going to talk about Man United. Like we all said. Bruno Fernandes. Smitty, the stat you texted me. 3 red cards before January. Are you kidding me? Do you realize how bad your club's been? You're supposed to take them to the promised land, or at least a land. There's no promises here. There's literally nothing worse than being a leader and getting red card after red card after red card. At some points, Amram, like he's done in the past, even though I question it, bench him. It's not good enough. It's simply not good enough. Next thing, shout out me and Jacob for one of our TikTok clips. Remember when Hoyland went like this for the celly, the gladiator celly? What did we say? Why are you celebrating? There's nothing to celebrate. It's been 10 years of nonsense. Get the ball, put it on the hash mark, and go again. There has been nothing good about United, except I'll probably give him Amarim, because to be fair, I think there is some type of stability. So what the owners don't want Rashford to play, or want Rashford to play, if he goes, Rashford needs to speak to me first, then that's just what the boss is saying. The system, if he wants to keep the system, if he wants to implement things, sure, go for it. But there's these players, man, that just, Harry Maguire. I told Nick last week, Jacob and Nick, I let you guys get your stuff off about Harry Maguire. This guy isn't good.
He's class.
Horrendous.
He heads the shit out of the ball.
Absolutely horrendous. There's nothing good about it. Ugarte probably could have got 2 yellows based on his tackling today. Matthias Cunha.
Guy, dude.
Matthias Cunha.
That's his guy.
Matthias Cunha, I'll give you your flowers because you're absolutely brilliant. You don't deserve to be in Wolves, whatever. But back to this Manchester atrocity. There is nothing good about Man United. I know when Chelsea finished 12th or 13th 2 years ago, this is probably what's going to happen to them. But play for the badge. Play for something. Play for your pride. There's nothing worse than just going out there. And we saw what Madueke said earlier in the season. Wolves is a shit place. No disrespect to Wolves because I haven't been there, but he put this on his Snap story and got caught. There's nothing good about Wolves. At least you can do is have all the fans that supported you, that are still supporting you, put out a performance, put out something. And last but not least, Kobe Mainu. Stop playing Kobe Mainu. Stop playing Kobe Mainu. I'm actually afraid that he's going to run into the same trouble as Saka. He's going to get too many minutes. He's going to get overran, overtired, and his legs are just going to be done by age 22, 23. Free Kobe Mainu because he should not be in any two-way system, and it should be a 3-player way for him to see the best abilities from him. United is in shambles. I'm pissed. I'm glad I'm not a United fan, but I feel like this is how they're feeling. But anyways, I'm done. I had to wait because I cannot believe I sat on my couch and watched that display.
Manchester United is like semi-pro.
No, I was
like the movie.
watching this game. This looked like an A10 game. They were literally doing long throws into the 18. Obviously it's the end of the game. You just want to get shit in the box. But I don't see any other teams doing long throws. Get the ball in. to a player,
I
and they
mean-
can whip it in from a good
that's
position.
rich coming from an Arsenal fan based on what we've seen the past few weeks. But anyways,
They don't have any good players. That's the problem. I've said this for
Yeah,
weeks.
I can't
United
even go
do
on
not
that.
have any good players.
I'm
They
not-
don't.
I'm lying.
I'm not going to say that.
United have
Wow.
0 players that get into
Cool.
Liverpool, Arsenal's, or City's team. They have 0. Not a single player on their team gets into one of those 3 teams. And if you try to convince me that Bruno gets into one of those teams, look at how he's played for the last 3 months. Maybe his reputation can get him into one of those teams, but his performances
gets
this
into
season
City.
are not. Well,
This
I'm
season.
assuming City not in the dumpster. Normal City.
Oh, you're
Not
assuming
a
into the
single one of United's players gets into any of those starting 11s. And you are Manchester
See, I don't think
United.
that's a good gauge
You are
of
the second
a game.
or maybe the biggest club in the entire universe. And you might not, you have one world-class player. You have one world-class player. You're Man United.
I don't think they have any world-class players.
Jacob, did you want to say something? I feel like you.
I know.
I think Ahmed is what people thought Kobe Mainu was going to be.
I think.
I think he's still good.
wait. No. Are you about to slander
he's
Kobe
got-
Mainu?
No, I was going to preface it.
Slander.
I was
He
going
is
to
what
preface it.
Garnacha thought he was.
No, I think Kobe Mainu is still a good player, and he's just in a shit system on a shit team. But
The system ain't changing. That's the problem.
today he played. I mean, he did not play well at all today.
Do you think Kobe Mayo is a world class player, Kenny, in a 3-way
No.
system?
No.
I was gonna say I don't think you could
Kobe
say a
Mainu.
player.
Kobe
No.
Mainu, what we saw last season and this summer from Kobe Mainu is that he walked into the England team, he walked into that United team, and he was their saving grace for how bad their season
You're not.
was.
You're,
Let's
you're not a
stop saying
world class
world
player
class,
if you can't
please.
fit into any system, in my opinion.
I won't say world class, but the fact that Kobe
Yeah.
Mainu is getting any type of slander, but like you can give it to him for some games, I get it. But we know his qualities are going to be there when there's a 3-man midfield, similar to with
Well,
Brian
they're not
Gravenberch
gonna-
for Liverpool.
They're not playing a 3-man midfield. It's
And
not going to
Smitty,
change.
This
It's
is
not
what I'm
changing.
saying. Smitty, this is what I'm saying. He needs to leave or he needs to be on the bench. You're just wasting his talents. And I don't want to see the same thing happen to what's happened to Rashford, what's happened to Martial, what's happened to so many young Manchester United players. They
It will.
literally just
coming.
lose their legs. And
I
that's the
promise
thing.
you, it's coming.
Do
He's
you
gonna go to
think,
Real
Kenny?
Madrid.
Kenny, do you think Man United should be building their system around Kobe Manu? Like, do you think this is a classic example of another manager being stubborn and playing the system he knows versus taking a look at his players, saying, what do I have here? And saying, oh, Kobe Manu, very good player. Let's build the midfield around him and go from there.
It's a good question, but I would say as manager, you probably should just stick to whatever system it is that you want. With Manchester United, I think they're an exception because they've been so bad and there's so much extra baggage and luggage that comes with them that if you are going to set your system, you have to set it now and do what you can. Kobe Manu needs to lead. Kobe Manu needs to lead.
Do you think if you're a Premier League manager, you should know football well enough that you can play multiple systems?
Yes.
This team's not going to be good for another 6 transfer windows.
Look at their midfield. I mean, it is terrible.
Well,
They-
I
they
mean,
got- they
again,
have
you
to
can't.
get rid-
You're telling me. You're
They
telling
have
me
to
that.
get rid of half their team. They literally have
Okay,
to sell
you think
half their
that
team.
Kobe Manu is good. Bruno Fernandes is good. You can't build a midfield with those two guys.
Clearly,
And
we've
Ugarte.
seen-
Let me
Clearly,
ask you a
we've
question.
seen. Wait.
Who the hell? Who do you even play next to Manu and Fernandez that works?
Are you saying
Why
in
don't
a
you
2
just
or
do
a
a
3?
reverse?
That well, if he's playing 3-4-2-1,
Well, this
Why
is
don't you just have 1-6? Why don't you just have Ugarte and then you have Manu and Bruno in the
because
top
that's
of
what
the
he,
diamond?
that's what
or
he's
the triangle?
trying. That's what they're doing now.
And United
No,
can't
this
defend.
is
the wall.
the thing. This is the thing. Because United isn't playing with the 3. They're playing with the 2, and then Bruno's like a left forward, and then
Yeah.
Diallo's out there. You can't succeed with this Man United team with a 2-way midfield. So it's only going to get worse. They're only going to keep getting exposed. No one is like Ugarte is the only runner in there. Like no one else is there to help with the tackles.
Mason Mount's gonna save him.
Yeah,
I don't know why you're going to go to the two back. United has 2 years at least.
but like this is
before
the
they
thing.
crack
This is the
up.
thing. Amarim's trying to
That's-
implement his system, and it's going to take some time, and the results are only going to get worse. It's just if they give him enough time.
He'll be sacked before the system's implemented.
And
Did
that's
United
the
make
thing.
a mistake
Because
by
it's gonna
getting
take,
rid of Van Nistelrooy?
it's going to
instead
take
of-
so many transfer windows.
Van Nistelrooy had 3 wins and a draw. Amarim has probably 3 wins.
Stop.
I mean, I'm just taking a look at what the
They
record
should have,
say.
instead of going out and getting the best manager that they felt they could get, they probably should have went out and got a manager that they felt fit the players they have. And that's where they messed up.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, he's going in there to like implement what it is that he implements. If it happens to be for however like longer or a long tenure enough where you can start to see the progress, we shall see. But Amarim isn't the problem. It just comes to a point where you're not playing for yourself, you're not playing for your teammates, and you can't tell me that there's not enough quality on that team to beat Wolves. Like I can't allow that. This is a team 2 seasons ago that finished third. I won't allow that.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
I was just they're not good, and they won't be good for quite some time.
Hey,
It's a couple transfer windows. Like
yeah,
you can't fix this problem. And honestly, they're
But I
probably
don't know
gonna
where
have
they're
to
going to
wait.
even get money from.
Exactly,
other
they're
than
probably going to have to
ownership.
wait till everyone's contracts run out because no one is bringing Casemiro on $400,000 a week, other than Saudi. And Saudi's going to be like, guess what? We're just wasting our money. Not
like
even
we
they're
said,
going to do it.
like we said, Manchester isn't red, Manchester isn't blue, Manchester's just bad.